The fastest, easiest way to gain more and more insight in your business.
If you're not building a business that you love, then you shouldn't be building that business. The hard work is the work in the world. In internet marketing, it's called done for you.
If you suffer from perfectionism as an entrepreneur, you rob yourself of a tremendous amount of momentum. Products take a lot longer to develop. Marketing campaigns take a lot longer to develop. And basically everything in your business takes a lot longer than it should. And therefore success gets pushed way far back, if it even happens, because others might jump the gun and get in front of you on great opportunities. What you need to realize is that perfectionism is a way of trying to fool the world into believing something about yourself that you currently don't believe about yourself. What you need to do to overcome perfectionism is think through what is it that you're trying to get the world to believe about yourself that you currently don't believe about yourself first. How would you know if you actually were able to believe this about yourself? And then lastly, why is it so important for others to believe this about you? When you do all those three steps, you will overcome perfectionism.
The more effort that you take off your customer's shoulders and put it on you, the better your offer seems. So you have to take a look at what it is you're offering right now, and you need to think about how can you make it even easier? In internet marketing, it's called done for you. Can you offer a done for you service? Can you offer what appears to be done for you because you've done a lot of the heavy lifting for them and now they only have to take the last steps? Whatever it is that you can do to make your offer.
In order to make good decisions quickly, you need to tap into your gut instinct very often. And in order to develop your gut instinct, there are two things that need to be in place. One, you have to develop your insight. We'll talk about that in a second. And two, you have to be willing to trust your instinct and be fully aligned with it. As far as more insight, the fastest, easiest way to gain more and more insight in your business is one, to be reflective about it, to take a step back and think about where you want to go. What have been your experiences so far? What's worked? What hasn't? And what needs to be learned in order to move forward in the right way. In addition to that, it's looking at the current effects in your business, what's going well, what's going wrong, and trying to figure out why. So you go deeper and deeper, and by doing so, you start to notice the cause and effects of your business. And by doing that, you gain more and more insight. Now let's talk about the alignment side. In order to be aligned who you really are, you need to know exactly what you want. You need to know exactly how you plan on achieving that and how that's in line with your values, your purpose, and everything else as far as your self-contact. So those are the two elements. If you want to be a more instinctual entrepreneur, you need to, one, increase your insight, two, increase your alignment.
Do you have or have had the problem that you're solving? And the reason I ask this question is that it is so much easier to sell to someone who you have great insight about. And it's a lot easier to have insight about something that you've struggled with or continue to struggle with than not having that experience. So it's a plus sign for you if you've had this problem or you still have this problem and now you're going to solve it for yourself and you're going to solve it for others. But being able to articulate the problem will give you so much power to your audience, right? Because they will say to themselves, this person gets me, or this describes me. And it's much easier to do that. Anyone who thinks that letters after their name or certifications that they acquire will make them successful will never be successful. Let me repeat that. Anyone that thinks that letters after their name or certifications they acquire makes them successful will never be successful. The hard work is the work in the world, right? It's not in school. And so until you take what you've learned and actually put it in the world, it means nothing. At the end of the day, you will be judged by your results. Focus on your results and you will get to the success that you acquire. People who live for the weekend are not people that you want to be friends with as an entrepreneur. If you're not building a business that you love, then you shouldn't be building that business. That's the problem with the 4-hour work week. If you only want to work 4 hours, then I would strongly suggest that you're in the wrong business, right? You want to love what it is you do, so you have to pull yourself away from it. If you only want to work 4 hours a week, I don't know what you're going to do with the rest of your time. As someone who's been retired twice, I can promise you that that gets boring after a few months. So people who live for the weekend are not people you want to be friends with.
At the end of the day, any successful marketing campaign has to get attention. Where you place your attention becomes the most important thing to you in any given moment. We over time spend less attention on things we've grown accustomed to, and therefore what we've grown accustomed to no longer gets our attention. And because it doesn't get our attention, it doesn't have an impact on us. When you capture someone's attention, they're more likely to, one, to go into a flow state. They're also not consciously processing what is being said. As they're consciously processing, they're not critically analyzing. And that the longer someone pays, like the longer someone's attention is captured, the more bonding happens and the more propensity to accept whatever offer. It's always better to be paid for who you are rather than what you do. It's better to have a positioning that makes the sale rather than the actual work make the sale. Because when the work makes the sale, you are positioning yourself to be a commodity. Whereas if you develop a different positioning, you ultimately can charge more and have a longer line of prospects and clients eagerly waiting to work with you. Now, how do you do that? The very first step is to figure out what that positioning needs to be. Who do you need to be for clients and prospects to eagerly desire to work with you? In other words, what positioning would make clients and prospects eagerly desire to work with you? Now, once you know the answer to that question, the second question is, how can you surface it? How can you reinforce it? How can you confirm it and ultimately consistently reaffirm it so that you really retain that positioning?